odd. We've talked about this the last couple of years. I think this is year 3 maybe that they allowed us to start our preseason practice prior to October 15th. It used to be October 15th or the Friday closest was the time in which you got started. And you really felt pressured as a coach to try to get everything in about a 3-week period prior to exhibition games and then the season, which quickly followed. Now they've allowed us to start much earlier. I think it was October 2nd or 3rd or 4th, somewhere in that range, where we've gotten about 17 practices in. Even though we've been going at it now, we're in our 4th week. It enables us to not have to overstress them from a timeliness standpoint. We go about 3 days on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off, which has been good for us because we've had a few injuries. Terry Brutus, unfortunately, had another surgery to his other ankle, so he's still probably about 2 weeks prior to getting back to being able to be on the floor. Martavius Newby had an eye issue that has since been resolved, and he's back to practicing and going full speed. We've had a few bumps and bruises here or there. We had a young man not qualify, so that took our numbers down to 12. So immediately, you know, we were dealing with 9, 10 bodies at times in practice, which this new rule has been advantageous because it's enabled us to get guys back to full strength.
With Terry, I mean, does it seem like he's just snake bit?
It's unfortunate too. I mean, here's a kid, you know this, man, he's a kid that without which we wouldn't have won an SEC tournament championship. He was thrust into battle due to injuries to DeMarco Cox and Aaron Jones, and he was really beneficial to us as a third post when we made that run and won 6 or 7 in a row at the end of the season. So I hate it for him. He's been about 2 years where he just cannot seem to get back healthy. He was playing great too. He'd had his explosiveness back, and hopefully after this setback he'll be able to rejoin us here in a couple of weeks and get back to helping this team.
Now that Jarvis is retired, I mean, on the run out of eligibility, how are you guys different at the point stylistically and stuff?
It's totally different. You know, I'm going into my 10th season here, but I've really only had, I count 2 guys that played for me from freshman to senior, and Chris Warren, who's doing very well in Greece, and Jarvis. Both those guys. I mean, that's 8 of my years. Tarico did it when Chris got hurt and did it well, SEC Freshman of the Year for 1 season, and then, you know, obviously Todd did it well. He was an all-SEC point guard when I got here for the 1 year when Todd was a senior. So this is a new wave for me in that I've got 2 guys, one's a freshman, one's a junior college transfer, that we're asking to lead this team, and we're giving them a lot of information, and we're trying to overload them in a number of different ways. And I've been pleased with both of them. They're vastly different than Jarvis. Sam Finley is the guy that if we started a game today, and thank goodness we don't, but if we started a game today, he would have the ball and he would be the guy that we would be dependent upon to lead us. 6'1", he's about 190 pounds. He's athletic, he's strong, he's very fast with the ball, makes shots, got a scorer's mentality, and he's been really receptive to a lot of the things that we've thrust upon him to this stage. He's a little bit like Moody in that his story is similar. Riverside, California, played for UC Riverside in the Big West as a true freshman, was the Big West Freshman of the Year. Had a coaching change, transferred, as opposed to sitting out like Moody, went to the junior college route and in Texas, ironically enough. And we found him, and he's never really played point guard full-time in his life. He's always been kind of a scoring combo. We're putting him in a little bit of a different situation, but I think physically he'll have no problem with it. Now it's just a mindset thing and trying to garner some experience as we get into the season. The other kid is JT Escobar, who we had signed the previous year because of our log jam with upperclassmen. At the point, he opted to go to prep school, and it was beneficial to him. It helped him a lot. He played at a high level, got a lot of minutes, and he's come in here. And he's also kind of been a combo his whole life, asked to score. And he'll be given an opportunity to also help us at that one.
What kind of shooter has Tomas been for you in practice?
He's a good shooter, very good shooter. This team is different. I guess every team is different year in and year out, but this one is much more offensively versatile than any group that I've had. Tomas and AP Anthony Perez are both stretch fours. I started thinking, we haven't had, last year, AP, his sophomore year, played a lot at the four for us. We brought in MJ Rhett last year, and MJ could stretch out to about 15 feet, but he wasn't a three-point shooter. So really, we haven't had a lot of stretch fours in our program, and it's not by choice. I like them, but we just never been able to incorporate them into what we're trying to do. With AP this year, he'll play exclusively as a stretch four, and Tomas, who because it's 6'9", 230, 235, can play some five as well, depending upon matchup. We've got two guys that can really stretch the floor, and I think between the two, we're gonna be able to make. We better be able to make, 70 or 80, 90, 100 threes maybe between the two. So they both can shoot the ball. There are times they'll play together, which will give us 5 positions that could stretch out, which gives us a lot of versatility offensively.
How's camp been for Sebas, and what more are you expecting out of him with Colby and Brett gone?
Yeah, I think Sebas, going into a junior, I think he's to the stage where he's about to take that next step. Physically, he's in the best shape of his life. He's 6'9", extremely long, 7'6" wingspan. Thank goodness his arms have not gotten any shorter. He's about 240 now, but his body has changed. He's more athletic. He can move better. Strength is much better in his lower body, which enables him to garner low post position. I think he's a guy that we can throw it close to it. He can score. Last year, he developed into a pretty consistent 15, 16-foot shooter. I've challenged him to be a double-double guy, go lead the SEC in rebounding. I think he'll have the opportunity to do that. For him, the next step is to garner all league votes. And if he does so and anchors us up front, I think it'll go a long way toward helping this team be successful.
Are you worried at all with Terry out? I mean, I asked you about Dwight, but I mean, the depth behind Sebas, I guess?
We're probably longer, more athletic than we've been in the front court, but we don't have a lot of girth. Sebas is the only guy on the team over 240 pounds. Obviously, Dwight was a big kid, and Terry's around 240 as well, a different dynamic. But we got right now, 4 guys in there with Sebas, Tomas, AP, and Marcambus Hyman, who's about 220, but he's an athletic. I would compare him more closely to Murph than anybody else in that he's around the ball. He's quick off his feet. I think he'll probably be our leading shot blocker because of his athleticism. Between those 4, we're going to have to man the 80 minutes that you get up front, and I don't have any problem with doing that with those guys.
Rebounding has been kind of a struggle the last couple seasons. I mean, without that girth, how much do you worry about that, or do you think you guys can be better?
Well, we've just got to do it a different way.
Yeah.
The dynamics of this group, we're going to have to be athletic and quick people to the ball. We've got athleticism on our wings. Martavius Newby, led us at rebounding last year. Newby's back as a senior and really playing with a senior sense of urgency you hope to see. Sebas was our best rebounder per minute. And he's a guy that, again, we hope takes that next step and can get us around 9 or 10 a game. We lost Snoop White. Snoop got us around 3 or so at the wing. We replaced him with a kid named Rasheed Brooks, who's really a good rebounder. I'd be surprised if he couldn't get in the 5 range, coupled with his ability to stretch the defense and make shots. He's a good perimeter defender. He's got a very high basketball IQ. And then I've challenged Moody to, he got us around 4 a game in league play last year. I really think because he is such an athlete, that if he's determined, he could be a guy that could really help us rebound from his spot. And we're going to have to rebound some at the 1. Sam's a guy that, again, based on athleticism, is going to be in there, be able to go in and get some. And then we've got a kid who is as athletic of players that we brought in the program in quite some time, and Terrence Davis, who at 6'4", off the wing, is a phenomenal rebounder. As good an offensive rebounder as I've had from the wing. That when he gets a chance to make an impact, it'll be defensively with athleticism over the top and his ability to go get rebounds.
Every year you've been here, you always wanted to